Welcome once again to the Sage. Thank you for our journey together. As usual, I'm Dr. Nkechi Chimezie, your guide on this show. You know, being your guide and the sage for this show is becoming a way of life that is growing on me. I have found that as I think about that role and I think about doing it, I'm beginning to look at people I meet with new eyes, you know? I've become a discoverer. And so when I meet gems, when I meet amazing people, I'm already thinking in my head, I'm going to convince this person to come to the show. And that is the case for the amazing guests you're going to meet today. But before we meet her, let me say that her particular expertise, her particular talent deals with something that is so intrinsically important to us, to all of us as human beings. If we want to be healthy, if we want to thrive. It's about healthy foods, things that you take in to keep you healthy, to maximize your health. But this amazing guest we have today specializes particularly in things you eat, food and other things that help control some chronic health conditions, in this case in particular, diabetes. She's a wonder. She's developed interest and she's done so much. And I'm excited because you're going to journey with me as we hear from her about all the things, the words of wisdom that she has on this issue. We are, as I had said in a previous program, what we eat. Most indeed, I talk as a doctor now, of the chronic diseases particularly, and even some acute ones, you know, even the infections themselves depend on your ability to have a strong immune system, to be healthy, and therefore to be able to combat whatever challenge or infection your body is confronted with. And so in the end, a large part of your immunity depends on what you eat. And that is why the adage that says you are what you eat is so true. And so stay with us because we're going to meet an amazing lady, an amazing entrepreneur who has found her passion in it and is devoting a great deal of time to producing healthy things to keep you healthy. Stay with us in the next segment as we unveil our treasure to you. Welcome back to The Sage, and thank you for staying with us. Oh yes, it's going to be a great show. There's so much important information to be shared. As I said before the break, we're going to talk about food, but not just any food, but healthy eating, healthy food that comes from our own homegrown, home-sourced materials. And the gem, my treasure for this show, is particularly passionate about diabetes, about the right things you need to eat so that you never become a diabetic. And if you are better able to control it. I think it's interesting for you to know that an estimate, very rough, and probably a gross underestimate, is that there are approximately 11.2 million diabetics in Nigeria. It's a huge number. So there should be a wide audience out there waiting like me with bated breath to meet this remarkable lady, Mrs. Nkechi Chimezie. Please welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kachi, for having me on stage. It's quite an honor to be here with you today.
Thank you for accepting to be here and for being so generous and willing to share your information.
Yeah.
Because we all need it.
We really appreciate what you're doing with entrepreneurs. It's quite amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for projecting us, SMEs. We're so glad.
You are an entrepreneur par excellence, if you may allow me to say that. I have watched you. You are not in the caliber of my young entrepreneurs, but you are an entrepreneur that is so successful. And there's so much to learn from you. And can you tell us about yourself?
Okay.
Incidentally, we have the same name. I'm also Nkechi, and so I'm pleased to.
Yes, ma'am. It's an honor to meet you again. Okay, I'm Nkechi Chimezie, and my background is in accounting. I'm a chartered accountant, and I also have an MBA in finance from Alliance Manchester Business School in the UK. And I've worked as an accountant all my life, worked in the oil and gas industry for a decade and a half before I ventured into entrepreneurship. And I'm married with a family. In fact, my drive into this was, it wasn't planned for. Like I said, background was in finance. So for me, healthy food was a fairy tale for me until some conditions came up and I found myself deviating. And there was a new passion, a new desire to discover more. So that's how I delved into the world of healthy foods and trying to raise healthier families using our locally sourced foods here.
Okay, great. You're into healthy food, but you're into diabetes in particular. Remember, I promised my audience you're going to share a lot of you. I'm going to make you tell me why particularly diabetes. How did you get it?
Sure. Yeah. I like to share the story. I think about 6-7 years ago or so. So my husband wasn't feeling too well. And that's a man that never visits the hospital. I mean, since I got married over 20 years, he never. So, but he wasn't feeling well. And I said, no, you need to see a doctor. You definitely need to see a doctor. It was affecting some of his organs. So we had to go to the hospital. And so thank God for the doctor that needed to do a comprehensive checkup on him. And the doctor screamed and said, you are diabetic. And I was like, no, it's not possible. In fact, we screamed, how? His parents died at well over 90 and none was diabetic. It's not possible. There's everyone in the family. And the man was like, this is even so high. I need to give you a shot of insulin immediately because the moment you walk out my door, I'm not responsible for what will happen to you.
Wow.
It was that scary. It was that scary. So he was shocked. I was like, well, insulin I'm not taking. I can take drugs, you know. So I had to stay back to have a chat with the doctor. Please, what does this now come to? How do we begin to work with it? Because what I've been told is when you have it for life. And the doctor was like, that's true. You have to change his diet. He was particular about diet. And of course, his lifestyle. Because my husband is always on the computer. He's a venture capitalist. And so he's always on the computer. Exercise is zero. Like I told you, our lifestyle was total crap. And the average Nigerian Igbo man, he swallows every day. So I told the doctor, what do I do? He has to take akpu, he has to take eba, he has to take all sorts of swallow. He said, madam, you have to replace it with unripe plantain flour. I said, wow, why unripe? He started educating me on the benefits of unripe plantain, told me a whole lot of foods to ditch and all that. So I got home and I put on my research cap. I needed to know more about this diabetes. Is it that it can start from anybody? So is it not genetic the way we're told? And it was in the course of researching, interacting with doctors, interacting with holistic health practitioners and stuff like that. I got a whole lot of information on this. And because I know you have it now, of course, the children and everybody is at risk. So I really went in depth. And so I began to look at the changes we needed to. So that's how, over time I was, buying because I was working, I was in active employment, 9 to 5. I didn't have time. So I would go to the market, buy the plantain flour and stuff like that. But I noticed every time he ate it, his sugar kept spiking. So I knew that two things. Either it wasn't 100% authentic or something was wrong. You get
with the plantain flours.
So I said, no. If the doctor has said it's unripe plantain, there must be something about unripe plantain. I need to own the process of making this unripe plantain flour. I went into how can I make it? All those things are online. I got it. So I go to the market, buy the pure unripe plantain, process from start to finish, make it for him, and we began to monitor with time. We began to see an improvement in the sugar level and stuff. He didn't have to take insulin. So those all, and a whole lot of lifestyle changes, making substitute food changes and stuff like that. But the focus was the unripe plantain. I made sure I made it myself. And because, like I said, he's what today people will say is a foodie, you know. He's very adventurous with food, visiting restaurants and stuff like that. And that had to stop. Because I needed to be sure what you're eating. So he had to eat more from house. And then, so he was getting bored, having to eat plant because he must swallow every day. So I said, okay, what can I do? Put on your thinking cap again. So I came up with a food synergy. How about mixing this foods with some different herbs and vegetables we have around? Because I began to study herbs, working with, like I said, holistic health practitioners. I began to see the beauty and the healing benefits in some of the herbs we have around us in our house. Herbs like the sour soaps, the moringa, the beetroot, cinnamon and stuff like that. So I began to process them as well, mix them with plantain flour so that he had varieties for all the days of the week. So he's not eating the same thing.
Wow,
so
that's interesting. So they're probably coming out different colors as well. Colors.
So if he's eating with his beetroot, he's having a red swallow. He's eating with his moringa, he's having a green swallow. So he was like, so he comes, when he's coming back from work, he doesn't know what to expect. You get it? And so he's always sampling. He's excited to sample and tell me, give me a feedback that, oh, this is nice, this is nice. So that's how we played around his diet. I was able to successfully reverse his type 2 diabetes.
Wow.
Working with my doctor, because we had to carry the doctor along. So at the point, the doctor was like, you need to cut down on your medication. Don't take it every day. Take it every other day. After a while, I said, take it once in a week. So even the doctor was amazed that this improvement is something else. So with time, we phased it out. And the amazing thing with healthy food was that we set out to reverse diabetes. And every other thing fell in line. He's been short-sighted for over 2 decades. We noticed his sight was corrected. A whole lot of things were corrected, BP and stuff like that. So you see that when chronic illness is coming, it comes with its baggages. So
because they have the same causative factors, the same things that risk, absolutely.
So you have one, you're down with one before you know it, it's coming with BP, it's coming with anemia, it's coming with all sorts of baggages. So as you begin to make those lifestyle changes, the same thing, even the things you're not watching out for, you just find out that everything is falling in place. Your body is getting its energy back. And I noticed there is a gap. If I couldn't get 100% authentic planting to give my husband, that means there's somebody out there that is equally looking for 100% authentic unripe plantain flour. I said, how about setting up a company where people can buy integrity and be sure this is what I want and this is what I'm getting, value.
When things strike me a lot, I stop. I want to repeat what you just said. Buy integrity.
Yes, ma'am.
Buy integrity. We can't say that enough.
We can't say it enough. Because I can shock you, ma. You know, when I now started my business, I came down to learn from the market women.
Hold it there. We'll be back in the second segment. And you will tell us about your business.
Yes, ma'am.
It's absolutely amazing. Well done, my dear.
Thank you.
Stay with us. Hang in there so that you can know the many wonderful things Nkechi is doing and producing. Stay with us. Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. But it's exciting. Before we went for our break, Nkechi was telling us about the things she now produces. The amazing words she spoke, which resonated so much with us, was that she said, did you say buy integrity?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us how you do it. Tell us what you do. What is it you produce?
Okay. So I actually started Eon Food in 2018. When I noticed
Eon Foods.
Eon Foods. When I noticed the gap in getting authentic. So my singular vision was to raise healthier families using our locally sourced raw materials that are chemical-free, preservative-free, addictive-free. So what I say, this is what you're getting, this is what you're getting. I was ready to put my life at stake to be sure that people got 100% authentic raw material, plantain flour. I began to study our local herbs, like the pumpkin seeds, the sesame seeds, the acha. Acha is grown in the north. The English name is fonio. Fonio is a better version of your imported quinoa. So we are so
Really?
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Yes, it's the important.
You should have brought those things for us to see, so we learn.
Those achas very good for diabetic. They are high in fiber. They are high in nutrients that would not spike your sugar. So these are foods I began to research and pull out from our local communities, using them to make sweet unripe plantain, and you have that food synergy concept. And then I noticed my children naturally don't like to eat vegetables. You slice your tomato, you slice your onions, they pick it out of the food. But when I now give them the unripe plantain and moringa, unripe plantain and beetroot, and they're eating it as swallow, they are eating their vegetables unknowingly. So that's one way I began to...
Mothers need to listen to that.
I began to get my kids...
Sneak it in.
Sneak it in. Let them eat their swallows. Sometimes we make it as puddings, as pap, because unripe plantain flour is so versatile. I use it to bake their muffins. So I'm sure they are eating. It's a food synergy concept. Why eat one when you can get the benefits of 2 or 3? That was the concept. So your body is able to harness all the nutrients and minerals in that food and do its healing work. So that's what we started with Eon Food. Let's begin to produce foods that are 100% authentic. What it is what it is. Take it to any lab and test it. If it fails test, you have 100% money back guarantee. Working with all the regulatory authorities to be sure that this food... In fact, when the regulatory NAFDAC first came for us, they were so wow. They said, madam, just give it to us. These are real foods. That's how it works. No preservative, no chemical, no unnecessary, being prepared in unhygienic environment. No. Remember, it's not just you eating the plantain and you're doing some crap. It's a whole lifestyle change. Like I tell people, you can take my product. If you're not willing to do the other lifestyle change, nothing changes.
What are the other lifestyle changes?
Other lifestyle changes. There are other foods you must stop. MSG-free seasoning. In fact, that was how I had to introduce my sister. See, there is a gap. We're telling people stay off MSG stock cubes. It's not good for diabetic people. It's not good for them. So you go for your natural spices. Then there are some food. You have to stay off fizzy drinks. As much as possible, your best drink should be water. Water, clean water.
Absolutely.
You should be, and if you must take something else, do it yourself, like the tiger nut milk or the Zobos. Those are healing drinks as well. But you have to prepare it yourself.
Can you show us some of your products?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
So like we have the unripe plantain and the beetroot. This is our bestseller. A lot of people like, I don't know whether, particularly with kids, the red swallow. We've seen kids that are picky eaters that don't like to eat and they are stuck on this. They can take this for breakfast, lunch and dinner. So we work with a lot of doctors and pharmacists. Some people say, put it in shop, put it in shop. I said, no. Sometimes I like to advise before you buy. So you find like the beetroot is very good in bringing down your BP. For those that have hypertension, this is recommended. But somebody can be diabetic and has a low blood pressure. You won't recommend this. We have the unripe plantain and the cinnamon. And now, Nigerians, when we hear something, we rush for it. There are 2 types of cinnamon. We have the Ceylon cinnamon and the cassia cinnamon. The cassia is like 90% available. Ceylon is the recommended one. You get it. So those things, you need to be aware. It's not that something is good, you just go off the market and buy it. So a lot of cinnamon in the market are the cassia. And prolonged use of the cassia, we heard, is not good for the health. It affects some parts of the organ. So we use Ceylon cinnamon. And this is the unripe plantain and moringa. When you make this one, it comes out green.
Okay.
Yes. You can take this as cereal, not just your swallow and soup. Okay. You can make it into your cereal. So it's a better alternative for breakfast cereal for children. So that's how we have about 10 variants of the plantain flour. And then
I went onto your Instagram, I believe, just before this program. I was amazed by your marketing strategy, but also the great deal of information I found. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, because like I said, the vision is raising healthier family in as much as we have a product to offer. So I'm building a page that is like a health diary, that anybody that comes in there, you have something to take home and run with and add to your life, add to your family. So we look at, and we equally bring news about what is happening in the markets.
How can people who want these products get it? How can they reach you? How can they have access to it?
Okay. Like I said, we're still starting up, and stock is in Lagos, we have in Benin, we have in UK, we have now in the US, we have in Ondo is coming on board. So, or like that, we're trying to grow it. With time, we'll cover Nigeria. We will definitely cover Nigeria.
I'm told you're also doing your best to train others, to mentor, to carry people along. Stay with us. In the next segment, we will ask Nkechi to tell us more of what she's doing in terms of that. Thank you. We'll soon be back. Welcome back to The Sage. Thank you for staying with us. It's been an amazing discussion. A sincere thanks to Nkechi once again. She shared wonderful information, and it's good to know that with our own, locally produced goods, we can indeed do a great deal towards controlling the incidence and prevalence of chronic diseases, particularly diabetes, amongst our people, amongst all of us. But I was also told that you actually do, because you're so passionate, you actually do some mentoring, so that you can impart the same knowledge to others. Please tell us about it.
Yes, I have this flair to mentor the younger ones. I mean, that's naturally what we ought to do. Because I find a lot of them, yes, because there's unemployment everywhere. So you find young graduates, they're out of school and they just dabble into entrepreneurship, learning as they go. And some of them are not privy to mentorship. So a lot of them make mistakes and learn along the line. So what I began to do was begin to mentor them and teach them the rudiments, what you need to learn in terms of developing structures in your business, being a bit more professional in your approach to how you sell yourself.
You must have been looking at C4C, yeah? We're kindred spirits, right?
So it's been an amazing time meeting young people. They're full of passion, they're full of creativity, but they lack those. And so that's why I had no regrets. My stint in the oil and gas, it helped me structure my business.
You courageously left it.
It was a good foundation. It was a good foundation for me in terms of how to business development, how to source for your customers, how to even manage aggrieved customers, how to take feedbacks constructively and stuff like that, and how to build structures, how to create policies in your business. So these are some of the things we teach. Working with C4C have been a privilege. We worked with there's a group called Entrepreneurs Corner. Working as a mentor on BMF now, Business Mind Foundation, and a few other, and church as well, mentoring youth on the business angle and stuff like that, because they have to do something. The jobs are nowhere. We have to. And with our growing population, there's a whole world of opportunity out there for the young ones. So I do that as well. And it's amazing. It's so fulfilling. There's a psychological income you earn knowing that you have impacted in somebody's life, and you see them running with what you're telling them and they're making a success out of it. It's amazing.
That's new on me, and it's beautiful. Psychological income.
It can't be
psychological
quantified.
And spiritual income.
It can't be quantified.
I think you can all see why I fell in love with Nkechi as soon as I met her, because she embodies and shares and is actually living many of the sentiments that drive us in C4C.
Thank you.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much. I'm still just one more thing before we wind up. You had talked about the need to interact personally with clients who take up your product.
Yeah.
And I'm so thinking about this is so good, it needs to expand. So is there room for investments? Do you have visions of how it can quickly expand so that many more people in this country can indeed benefit from what you're doing?
Yes, we have a plan to expand. Eon Food has been broken into phases. There is a phase where we open it up for investors. So we're working one phase that I don't want to jump the gun. You must do the investment. So that when the foundation is solid and an investor comes and build upon it, it will stand the test of time.
Absolutely. As we wind up, can I ask you to just say what you think are your golden words to our audience? Having gone through this great experience, have these great achievements, what would be your parting words?
Okay, my parting words, first and foremost to everyone is, we need to be more intentional about our food, about what we feed our body. Because you need to be alive for you to run that business. You can't afford to be eating junks or eating anyhow. You must be sure of your food sources. And then to the young people out there who are aspiring to do one thing or the other, I will tell you that the world is your stage. I mean, with over 120 million Nigeria, there's a huge opportunity in terms of agriculture, in terms of technology, in terms of a lot of opportunities are here. Look for problems. Anywhere you see problem, see money. There is a solution you can create. Look for value. Create value. When you create value, people will be attracted to you. Value basically is your usefulness and importance to people. When people know you're useful to them, you're important to them, they will come to you to exchange your value for their cash. Start small. Start with what you have and just start. Just start and keep building on it. It's a gradual thing. Don't put yourself in a calendar and say, oh, in 2 years I should have hammered. No, it's a lie. Take those baby steps and gradually you begin to run. You become a global phenomenon.
Wow. You will indeed become a global phenomenon. We pray that for you.
Amen.
That's been simply amazing. And I'm going to shock Nkechi by saying that I want to say a special thank you to her husband for being her wake-up call.
Yes, absolutely.
He was her wake-up call.
Yes, he was.
And that indeed turned her into the treasure she is for us at this point in time, a treasure in the journey of eating well and staying healthy.
Thank you.
It's been amazing. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you.
And for all of you, all of us, you watching, please find out where these great products are and make that a part of your life. It is when we take care of ourselves that we,
you can make the money.
Absolutely. Make the money and lead the best life for which you are here. Thank you so much for being with us. It's been a wonderful journey. We're looking forward to seeing you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.